down that game, as well as the New York Islanders, Philadelphia Flyers, and Detroit Red Wings and Tampa Bay Lightning. A big night tonight in the NHL with a ton of meaningful games. It's also a throwback day here at WagerTalk.com. We've got $9 Monday, every single play, every sport, guys. Today only $9. No joke here on April Fools. I'll welcome in my co-host, Carmine Bianco. What's up, Carm?
Andrew, happy Easter to you guys in the chat. And I'm sorry about that joke. It's an April Fool's joke. You got till noon to apparently that's the rule, Andrew, with April Fool's jokes. After noon hits, you can no longer play those jokes. It's noon where you are because you're an hour ahead, but there will be more shows, including the playoffs, including a Saturday puck time this week, which Andrew and I will record on Friday. So plenty of action for you guys. But today's show is predominantly Easter. It's all Eastern Conference feel to it. Islanders, Flyers, Wings, Lightning, Leafs, and Panthers. Because I know the Leafs fans are out there yelling, "We want Florida" once again. And oddly enough, that's what's going to happen. You're going to get him tonight, and you're going to get him in the playoffs in all likelihood as well, too. Andrew, weekend was great as far as family time. NHL on Saturday. My God, somebody in the chat, please tell me you guys hit some of those dogs. Some of those dogs. The Sharks going into St. Louis and winning 4-0. They were plus 275. The Chicago Blackhawks upending the Philadelphia Flyers. The Hawks are doing everything they can to catch Anaheim, who are tanking, full boat tanking to lose that third spot, Andrew, in the draft. You know, the bottom three teams have the best odds of winning the lottery draft. If you finish fourth, the odds drop off, and I don't think I've ever seen fourth place team win the draft, Andrew. I think they can only move up to second. Correct me if I'm wrong on that.
I think so, yeah.
So
that's right.
So the Chicago, they go into Philly, they play Philly, and they absolutely the Flyers just look flat. I felt Tortorella was going to blow a gasket behind the bench, man. But with that said, we got games to talk about, Andrew. So I'm going to talk about this Flyers Islanders game. It's only fitting that I talk about the Flyers and Islanders. The Flyers are minus 120 here. You can find them 115 to 120 on the WagerTalk live lines, which you guys, again, should always use. It's a free service, up-to-date odds as they change. The total sits here at 5.5. I'm staying away from the total, and I'll explain to you in a second why. Because I don't know what I'm going to get from the Islanders. Islanders are even money right now. When you expect them to win, they lose. When you expect them to lose, Andrew, they win. I just cannot figure out this Islanders team for the life of me. They go into Florida, they win 3-2, and then they lose to Tampa. They could have completed. I thought they had a chance to complete the Florida double. And then again, they beat the Winnipeg Jets. They lose to the New Jersey Devils on home ice. I can't get this team. What I do know is they have the second highest in the East, the second highest percentage of games that go to overtime. So you know where I'm going with here. 31.5% of the Islander games this season have gone to overtime. And that is the problem. If you can't win in overtime, you're dropping points. And this is why they're on the outside looking in. The only team with more OT games in the Eastern Conference, the Boston Bruins, with 25, but 23 for the Islanders. Even money. I'd want plus money here, even with the Flyers on a bit of a downtrend right now, losing 4 games. This is a true 4-pointer, Andrew. But herein lies the problem. You got the Flyers on 75. You got Islanders got 2 games in hand, and they're 5 points back. So you would think win both games, and you're a point back, including the one tonight. Which is a true 4-pointer. You still have a chance to make the playoffs if you leapfrog over Detroit. The problem lies with the fact that the Islanders only have 23 regulation wins, 28 for Washington, 28 for Philadelphia. If they finish in a tie, they're not making it into the playoffs because of regulation wins. So when we talked about teams that could possibly pull their goalie, not forget about overtime, pull their goalie in a tie game late in the game, the Islanders fit that model because they need to win the game in regulation. They need to get the 2 points and keep Philly from getting any points in this game. And if you have the Flyers, you have to love the idea of in a tie game, the team that you're betting against pulls their goalie in a tie game. It gives you just another chance to win. I'm going to take one of those pizza Flyers because this game is not making my card. I am going to take the draw in this game at plus 320 because the Flyers would be perfectly happy with this game going to OT, pick up a point, and put another nail in the coffin of the teams that are below them, which are the Detroit Red Wings and the New York Islanders. Draw plus 320. It's happened 31.5% of the time for the Islanders this season. It could very well happen again. What are your thoughts on that one, Andrew?
I love it, Carm. What a start to the show, man. Giving out a draw, some nice plus price there on that one. And this is really the time of the year to bet the draws. So I know a lot of people are very successful throughout the season with draw betting, but right now, as we approach the playoffs with every single point mattering so much, as you mentioned, it's a good game for the draw. But Carm, I wrote this up as a free play, WagerTalk.com, my profile page, and I started off by saying, I know we aren't supposed to catch falling knives. I know it can be dangerous. This Philadelphia team has recently lost to the Montreal Canadiens, the Chicago Blackhawks. They have not looked good lately. But what better team to snap out of the slump against? What better team to get back on track against than a New York Islanders team that's given up at least 3 goals in 9 of their last 10 games? I think of this New York Islanders team in the past of being such a dominant defensive team, a team that was so hard to play against, would trap you in the middle of the ice, their goaltenders standing on their head. And right now, it's just not the same thing we're seeing from them. No matter who they play, no matter what building they're in, they're giving up chances. They give up goals. They take bad penalties. Their penalty kill hasn't been great. And you mention it. They're a team that has not really won a lot of close games. So if this game is tight checking, if this game does have the playoff feel, if it does go to overtime, you know which team I want my money on. And it's not the New York Islanders. I mean, those numbers you threw out, it's amazing how many times they've been involved in close games, how many times they've gone to overtime, but come out on the wrong side of those games. So looking at the Philadelphia Flyers right now, at least for them, compared to this Islanders team, in some of their games, not against Montreal or Chicago, but when they have given up goals, they've still been able to score. So if we look for a better defensive effort and a better goaltending effort, I think there's going to be an absolute terrible taste in the mouths of this Philadelphia team right now. I mean, when you drop a game, not once, but twice to a bottom feeding team, you get a day and a half break, you come back out Monday night, fresh week, a chance at home, and you want to hold on. They are just barely holding on to a playoff position right now, this Philadelphia team, Carm. I feel confident in this price. Again, it's dangerous to catch falling knives, but I also feel like the Islanders, they're a falling knife as well. So it's pretty much like, you're picking between two teams that are not looking great right now, to say the least, and I'm going to take the home team.
Andrew, I love it, man. That's a bold move, Cotton. I love it. You're like the person on that wheel where they're just throwing the knives at them, and you're trying to dodge them because that's what it is in trying to bet the New York Islanders or the Philadelphia Flyers. You are dodging knives, and I had to put the game on this card for us to discuss, but it is crazy. One of the things, and I just replied to someone in the live chat, which I think is tough, is we know what happened with the Philadelphia Flyers, as far as, their goalie Carter Hart having to leave the team with what is going on, the investigation, the police thing, and the World Juniors. We're not going to get into that, but it is squarely put the whole team on the shoulders of Urson. And you look at how many games he's played. He's very rarely had a night off. March 2nd, he gets the game off, and then he plays 5 straight games, gets the 16th off, 3 straight games, gets the 24th off. another 3 games. The guy wasn't made to shoulder this much responsibility and this much workload for the team. And their other goalie is what? Felix Sandstrom, I believe. But you look at it, he hasn't looked good in goal. And it's just at some point, um, it deflates the team when the goalie isn't playing well and he's letting it in. You can call him softies or he's letting goals that he should stop. His save percentage the last 3 games: 792 against Chicago, 867 against Montreal, 778 against the New York Rangers. Andrew, I could slap pads on you and you would have a goals against average, or sorry, a save percentage that is better than that. It's listen, we're going to see what we get tonight. If Urson's watching this one, he probably gets a shutout and 1-0 in OT. I'm fine with that. 1-0 OT. Game goes to OT. I'm gonna have some pizza, and Urson gets you the win. You go with that?
That's fine by me. It'll be a little bit sweaty, but it's fine by me as long as we both come out on top. You know how I am. I want us to all win and have success. And you're right, about Urson and the goaltending issue, because I understand the issue. What's going on with Carter Hart is something that we don't want to talk about, but it has affected the team, and we can't deny that it's affected the team, because what's happened was we saw Urson go on a huge run and play very well, but we all know what happens these days in the NHL when a goaltender has to play way too many games. It catches up to them, the fatigue factor. And if they go into the playoffs, and that's why they had to pick up somebody that actually just came over from the KHL, because if you go into the playoffs with a goaltender that's played way too many games recently, it's going to hurt you big time. And a lot of teams have seen that happen to them over the years, how important it really is to have multiple goaltending options. That is for sure. But Carm, I'll be real with you. There weren't many teams, and there aren't many teams in the NHL that I would probably take the Philadelphia Flyers to beat right now. The Islanders just so happen to be playing them tonight. I wasn't eager. I wasn't running to the window trying to find a way to bet Philadelphia. It just worked out tonight. But let's move on to Detroit and Tampa Bay. We appreciate all of you guys for being here with us on WagerTalk TV. Guys, we are live on so many platforms: YouTube Shorts Live, Instagram. We're even making some action on TikTok as well. So you guys make sure you find us all over the place, WagerTalk TV. Let's talk about Detroit and Tampa Bay. We've got -190. The home team here. Another divisional matchup. Detroit. Are they live dogs tonight, Carm? Can they play shocker, or does the home team keep on rolling?
Well, they're always going to be a live dog. Larkin back a little bit better. The game they lost in to Florida in OT, the shootout or whatever. It was, those are points you need at this point. They dropped that one 3 games back. They lose that game to Washington. Again, a game that goes into OT. Those are points, especially against Washington, a team you're trying to catch. They have another game against Washington. I'm kind of hoping that the Wings stay in the playoff race, because I'm considering making the trip out to see that game, Washington in Detroit, if there's a chance that they can catch him in the playoffs. I'd want to see that game. I think it'll be an electric game. It's actually cheaper for me to travel to Detroit to watch Detroit and Washington than it is to go 40 minutes south to Toronto to watch the Leafs play anybody. That's the insane thing. Andrew, when I looked at this game, here's the problem with wanting to take Detroit in this game is they've lost 9 straight road games, and I get it. A lot of those were, after the Larkin injury. But still, we always talk about that next man up mentality, and they just didn't have it. I just don't know what's going on with this team on the road. They just don't carry their home form. When these teams play in Detroit, Detroit has their number. They seem to beat them. And I remember one game, I think it was a year ago, or I think it was a year ago. The shots on goal were something like 48-17 for Detroit against the Lightning, and the Lightning won that game 3-0. Vasilevsky stood on his head in that game. But 3 of the last 5 games in Tampa have been won by Detroit. So maybe they're buoyed by that fact. I'm going to go completely different angle here, much like the draw I took in the last one. I am going to take, because Detroit's playing so terrible on the road right now, I'm going to take the Tampa team total, which is 3.5 minus 130. Now, they got to get to 4 goals to get this done. We know Tampa's scoring goals, but Detroit, during that 9-game winless run on the road, they have allowed 4 or more goals in 7 of those 9 games. They may have to win one of those high-scoring games like they did against Tampa, I believe, earlier this season. I see goals in this one, but I don't want to take the over. I'm going to take Tampa team total over 3.5 minus 130.
The team total, Tampa Bay Lightning playing extremely well right now. And you got a team, like you mentioned, 9 straight road losses for the Detroit Red Wings. It's amazing how a team can play so well throughout the season. And then once playoff time is just creeping in, they start to plummet. I understand, like you said, the injuries there that they've dealt with. But when it comes down to it, this Red Wings team has not looked the same over the last couple games here. And when I say the last couple games, well, 12 of their last 13, they haven't looked the same because they've lost all of those games. They just have not looked like a solid team here, Carm. I understand, the goals they're giving up. I can see the Tampa Bay team total, but for me, I'm going to hope that the Tampa Bay wins 5-0. So you and I can both win and be successful. But I'm actually on the under tonight, and I just think that right now, with how dry the scoring has been on the road for this Detroit team, because it hasn't just been they're getting outscored, 4-3, 5-4 in every road game. They're struggling to score. They've become one of those teams that's only finding their offense at home as opposed to on the road. So, and looking at this Tampa Bay team, I know it's only been recently, but allowed 1 against New York, allowed 1 against Boston, 2 against Anaheim. This is a team that I think might be rounding into playoff form. Vasilevsky stepping up, this team defensively, keeping teams to the outside. That is Tampa Bay hockey right now. And you corrected me last week because you've been talking about them, but I still think the total masses in the hockey community have not been talking about this Tampa Bay team enough. They are getting ready for the playoffs, and whoever they play better be ready because it's going to be a tough battle for them. And I think defense has a lot to do with it. You look at Detroit right now, 7 of their last 8 games have gone under against the Atlantic Division. And overall right now, this Tampa Bay team, especially at home, has played some of their best defensive hockey. So I'm going to rock with the under, Carm, overall. But I still hope we both can win. It's somewhat possible.
So, Andrew, I'm cheering for, obviously I want my team total to hit, but I'm cheering for Detroit in the game. It is not because I think they're going to win the game. It's one of those games where you don't have money on it, so you pick a side. Who do you want to win? Because a Detroit win keeps them in the playoff race and gives us more meaningful games to talk about over the last 17 days of this NHL regular season. The funny thing is, Andrew, because you sent it to me, guys. Here's Tampa is they've been playing well. By the way, I know he's not watching it, but Tampa's not done. Tampa's not tired. Tampa has a good team and are turning it on, something they haven't done the last few seasons because they normally have a playoff spot sewn up. But Tampa is 4 points back of the Toronto Maple Leafs right now for that number 3 seed in the Atlantic, and Tampa has the tiebreaker with 33 regulation wins to Toronto's 30th regulation wins. So we'll see what happens, whether they catch them or not. But you sent me this, which I thought was pretty funny. The Leafs, if they finish 3rd in the Atlantic, they're going to face either Boston or Florida because those 2 teams are battling for the 1st and 2nd spot. If the Leafs were to finish 2nd, they would face one of those 2 teams. If the Leafs fall out of the top 3 and into a wild card spot, they're still going to face either Boston or Florida because New York Rangers seem to be running away right now with the Eastern Conference, and Carolina is just back of them. So it's amazing. I think the writing's on the wall on who the Leafs are playing. It's going to be the Bruins or the aforementioned and soon to be mentioned Florida Panthers, Andrew.
That new playoff format, Carmen, is definitely a mystery. But either way, it makes for a great first round. We can't wait for it. And we're going to have all the action, all the picks right here, WagerTalk TV, as we do puck time all the way through the playoffs. And guys, again, I'll mention it right now, WagerTalk.com live. You can get Carmine's double pack of NHL plays, my best bet in the NHL as well as MLB. Just $9. We're throwing it back today. $9 Monday, wagertalk.com, Carmine, WT.buzz/CB. Same for me with an AM at the end there. Get all of our plays today, just $9. But Carm, I feel like you might have saved the best for last in this one. I look forward to watching this game here. But this is actually my play of the night. So people can find out at wagertalk.com if I have a side, total, over, under, dog, or fave in this one. So what I'll do is I'll just go over a prop I like, actually maybe a couple props here. And I'll start things off with John Tavares, under 3.5 shots on goal, Florida and Toronto, of course, here the game tonight. This is a guy that's really stepped things up. You know, he's gotten a lot of flack because of the contract that he has, right? And I know that we've heard people mentioning that he's not contributing and not having a great season. Carm, the guy's still having a good season. He's still having a good year. He just probably isn't having a good year for a $10.5 million guy. And that's been the biggest issue. But his passing, his ability to create space, his kind of forechecking ability, and just having that veteran experience. But I'll tell you what, they're still setting his number at 3.5 shots on goal every single game. Well, he's got under that total in 7 of his last 10. The Florida Panthers, they're not playing the best right now. I can certainly see a chippy defensive playoff atmosphere tonight. I can't see John Tavares getting 4 shots on goal tonight. So I like that to the under 3.5 shots on goal for John Tavares for a nice prop bet for tonight. And I also want to look at Sam Reinhart. Everyone talks about his goals, Carm. How about the assists? The guy still passes the puck. He still creates plays out there on all the power plays. I know he's having a phenomenal career year as far as his goal scoring, but the assist mark, you get such a nice price on this as well. Passing it over to guys like Verhaeghe, to guys like Tkachuk. I think Reinhart to get an assist is a really profitable wager tonight as well. So one bet on each team. And also could probably see a good night as far as the goaltending props as well. But Carm, my favorite play on this game is up for grabs at WagerTalk. But what do you have going for this game?
You know, it is an interesting one. I always poke fun at the Leafs, Andrew. I'm not going to poke fun at the Leafs in this game. So Marner, and I talked about Marner missing a bunch of games, and I'm like, if he doesn't play, and this was last week, if he doesn't play in the game that night, if he wasn't on the ice, it's a bad sign because they're not telling you that there's something wrong with him. So what do they do this weekend? They put him on the long-term injury reserve. There's something wrong with him. For them not to have him in the lineup right now, I don't know how bad that injury is. They're going to need him at some point, but they've played well defensively their last couple of games, extremely well defensively. Samsonov's confirmed for tonight. And, we've talked about the Leafs goaltending issues, but if you remember back on January 1st, the Leafs put Samsonov on waivers with the notion of sending him down to the Marlies. He wasn't going to play, but he was going to work with the goaltending coach there. When they sent Samsonov down, his record was 5-2-6 with a 394 goals against average and an 862 save percentage. He was literally, it was like printing money betting overs with Samsonov in goal. Anything but since his return, Andrew, 15-4-1. His goals against average 2.43. His save percentage 914. He's assumed the responsibilities of the number one goalie, and even with Joseph Wall playing, games here and there, and I think people thought Wall comes back, he's going to be their playoff goalie. I think it has to be Samsonov. He's the starter tonight. He's confirmed. And you got Florida coming in, and Florida's taking money in the markets. It's opened at 120, went to 130 for Florida right now. You're getting plus money on the Leafs right now, and plus money on the Leafs at home off of 2 very good defensive games against a Florida team that despite getting the win against the Red Wings, have struggled a bit to score goals, but they're still playing well defensively. I'm going to take the plus money here. I'm bucking the trend of I think Florida just has Toronto's number. The Leafs did beat them earlier this season 2-1 at home, and a similar game could be in the works here. I'm going to take the plus money with the Leafs in this one.
All right, taking the dog at home, Maple Leafs on the money line. Carm, I just hope it's going to be a playoff atmosphere, man. I want to see some physicality. I want to see some rough stuff, and this may be a preview of the first round playoffs. We're looking forward to a great week on Puck Time here, guys, getting ready for the playoffs, some of these great matchups, also some single game videos. You can find those all on WagerTalk TV, all throughout the YouTube channel, also the app as well on the Apple Store, Play Store, Roku devices, anywhere you can find us, WagerTalk TV. Carm, what do you have going tonight for clients, man? It's $9. I saw you had an NHL double pack. Anything else up for grabs for your clients?
Yeah, just the NHL one. A couple this week is some great games and full cards. So we're gonna have a lot of good games to discuss throughout the week. But right now, actually 3 plays loaded up at WagerTalk. It was a 2-pack, but I added one more, which is the play I'm going to give you on today's show. This is also a client play as part of that 2-pack, which is now a 3-pack. Get it for $9. You get the other 2 games. One of them is a 4% best bet. Really good run, 37 and 14, I believe it is 37-14, 37-15 in NHL. That's a very good profitable run for me. January 1st onwards has been really good for clients. Andrew, I'm going to go a little different. It's been a different kind of day for me. Easter Monday kind of day. I'm going with a money line parlay, guys. I am taking the Edmonton Oilers at home in the part 1 of this parlay against the St. Louis Blues. St. Louis, come on, man. They choked against San Jose. They are done as far as I'm concerned, as far as getting into the playoffs. Edmonton can still catch Vancouver for the number 1 seed in the Pacific. So 6 points back, 2 games in hand. Can't lose games like this. That's the leg number 1. Leg number 2, New York Rangers. Pittsburgh, they crapped the bed against Columbus. They've been doing it since that Gunsel trade. Rangers playing lights out hockey, even though they're coming off a 2-game Western road trip. It was only a 2-game Western road trip. They're home. They rested Shesterkin in that second game. He'll be playing tonight. Plus 127 for parlaying these 2 teams. They're minus 200 and minus 195. Put them together. Take one, get 1 plus 127. Cash that ticket, and we move on to Tuesday.
I love it. It's been a unique day, and we're wrapping it up in a unique way. But Carm, before I jump into my best bet, we got a question for you from Instagram from SJoyce90. Who do you want to play? And I'm guessing they're asking you about the Leafs, Florida, or Boston. Who do you think? Or who do you want to see them play, and who do you think they should want to play?
I'm gonna make it quick, Andrew, with this one. And thank you for the question. We really appreciate you guys dropping those questions, not only in our live chat here on YouTube, but also Instagram. The Leafs are better off playing this team tonight, the Florida Panthers. They got them last year in the playoffs, in the second round, and Florida was just on a dream run. They're not going to be caught off guard this time around, and they know what they're getting with Florida. If you play the Boston Bruins, I'm sorry, they're not getting. It's not going anywhere past 5 games against the Boston Bruins. The Bruins have Toronto's number. It's like, who's your daddy? Your daddy is the Boston Bruins. They just cannot beat this team, Andrew. It's just plain and simple. I joke around about how the series will end. If Toronto has to play Boston, it's a 7-game series. It's done in 3 because it is just done. They can't beat them. I don't know what it is. It's in the fiber of their being, whatever. It's they just cannot beat the Boston Bruins. So that wasn't a short answer. I'm sorry. I kind of went off there, but we appreciate those ones. Leafs and Florida in the first round of the playoffs, and then all those schmucks that were outside of the Scotiabank Arena yelling, "We won Florida last year," and you got them. for 5 games, and then you got the golf course in Florida for the rest of the NHL playoffs. That's the series I want to see.
They'll get a chance to get their revenge. It's how the playoffs work. Yeah, you get your revenge. They got the revenge against Tampa Bay last year, and now they'll have to get the revenge against the Florida Panthers. Carm, we have a breaking special that just got released, just got dropped over at WagerTalk.com just before we wrap the show up here. Under $6 a day, a 90-day special, 90-day all sports special available for all of us here at WagerTalk.com. And unbelievable. And right now we've got the remainder of college hoops. We've got NBA playoffs coming up, NHL playoffs coming up. We've got UFC every weekend. We've got soccer, Champions Leagues really heating up. We've got so much going on right now. Originally $849, you can get a 90-day pass right now for $539. It's a great, great, great deal at WagerTalk.com. So great stuff there. Carm, I'll get into my best bet, then throw it back to you to close things out for us. Is that all right?
Sounds good.
All right. For me, guys, I do have that best bet. As I mentioned, 4% play in the NHL. And I already told you the game. It's Florida and Toronto. It's a big game, potentially a preview for the playoffs. You can grab that for just $9. Also on a 6-2 MLB run. Really, really feeling good to start this MLB season. So hopefully we can keep that going. My best bet for the show, we already broke down this game. I'm going with the Broad Street Bullies at home. We're taking the Philadelphia Flyers to get the job done over the New York Islanders. I believe they're the team to keep things going. They're the team to get back on track. And this is kind of like catching two falling knives, but I just trust this Philadelphia team better. And as far as their goal production, I believe they can score against this New York team. It's given up at least 3 goals in 9 of their last 10 games. The defense cannot be trusted for New York, and I truly believe Philadelphia gets back on track on Monday night. Guys, best of luck tonight. Hopefully you join me on this wager. Carm, over to you to close things out.
Yeah, so Andrew, you're talking about this play, and I just wanted to mention to you, and guys, check your starting goalies if that's big for you, and it's important because when making your wager, check your goalies. And I say that today because tomorrow's a huge card. Today's a big card. Tomorrow's a huge card. So all week there's a bunch of back-to-backs all week. So the Islanders, Andrew, this is the one I wanted to mention. So the Islanders are on back-to-backs. They play Philadelphia in the game that is probably the most important game that they're going to play of these 2 back-to-backs because they're home against Chicago tomorrow, a team that's only won 7 games on the road all season. They're starting Varlamov in goal tonight instead of Sorokin. And I get it, Sorokin splits are better at home than on the road, but you need your number 1 goalie in goal, and they're saving him for Chicago tomorrow. Patrick Waugh, a goalie himself. What are you doing, man? This is why I can't coach. This is why I would never coach, because I just don't get it. Varlamov in goal tonight in what is probably one of the biggest Islander game of the season for them instead of Sorokin. And it's it's Sorokin in goal tomorrow against Chicago. So kudos to you. I'm going to guess that Flyers line is probably going to go up about 10 cents, if not more. And I'm looking at it right now, and it is now 125 on the Wager Talk live line. So action coming in on Philadelphia after that starting goalie was named. Anyways, guys, monster slate tomorrow. Wager Talk today coming up shortly. I will be on the show discussing 2 more games that we didn't discuss today. Prez is back from his 9th or 10th vacation of the year already. He'll be on the show tomorrow. 3 big games. We appreciate all the comments from you guys. Hit that like button, please, and drop a comment in the comment section below. Let us know who your best bet is on tonight's card, and we'll see you tomorrow. For myself, Andrew, Dan, and the Wager Talk staff, good luck with your wagers tonight, guys, and we'll see you tomorrow.